I would like to shout out Adrian Thomas for sending me this story. Now, this story right here is going to be a wild one because I'm laughing at it because it is hilarious, though. Talk about an interesting way of getting out of something. So, in this image, you see a guy by the name of Dorleans Philidor. He's 33 years old, and he was at a trial hearing for a burglary. And on the right, you see circuit court judge her name is Lisa Walsh. And basically, like I said, he was on trial for burglary, and this guy literally defecated in his pants. I don't have to really go into detail what that is. Y'all should know what that means. But he didn't only do that. He also took what was in his pants and flung it at the judge. And that's not all. This guy also proceeded to eat what was coming out of him as well. Like I said, this story is just wild, and I'm not even making this up. If you don't believe me, I'll leave the link to the article below so y'all can actually read it for yourself. I cannot make this up. But the thing about it is, he did all of that and managed to get acquitted of the charges. Talk about someone who, like, now, if you want to plead insanity, I don't know if I would go this extreme to do what he did, but it worked in his favor. See, I would be highly upset if I did all of that, especially the part where you ate your own, that, and I still had to be on trial. Because it's like you did all of that nastiness for nothing. Let me go ahead and read this article. A criminal trial was halted temporarily in Miami on Friday when a defendant defecated into his own hands and hurled feces across a courtroom just before closing arguments were set to commence. Dorleans Philidor, age 33, aimed the unsavory missile at Miami-Dade Circuit Judge Lisa Walsh during his burglary trial, yelling, "It's protein, it's good for you." Thankfully for Walsh, the excrement narrowly missed, but the defendant's dirty protest prompted a frenzied evacuation from the courtroom, with lawyers and the judge scrambling for the exit as county police officers rushed to restrain Philidor. The defendant had been sitting in a wheelchair to the right of Walsh until a bailiff suddenly called out for the justice and urged to seek shelter. Video captured by a spectator in the gallery shows one officer desperately clinging onto Philidor's arm in an attempt to prevent him from wiping his hand on the judge's bench. Witnesses say they watched in on horror when moments later Philidor appeared to eat the feces as officers worked to restrain him. It was intense. The corrections officers and police officers were swarming, like 60 of them, said witness Alan Rios of the Miami Herald. They told everyone to leave and you couldn't go back in. It was now a hazardous area. Undeterred by Philidor's actions, Walsh proceeded with the trial in a separate room while the original setting was closed for cleaning. After just 1 hour of deliberation, the jury returned a verdict of not guilty for Philidor's burglary charges. According to reports, jurors were not present when Philidor cast feces across the room. Despite his acquittal, Philidor will remain in custody as he is also facing a separate trial in a Grand Theft Auto case. Well, it makes you wonder what he's going to do to get out of that one. It's not yet known if he will face additional charges for the attack, but courtroom officials say this isn't the first time this week that Philidor's behavior has delayed on court proceedings. On Thursday during a lunch break, the 33-year-old defecated on himself, smearing it all over his body and on the walls of his cell. Corrections officers were forced to haul him away through a public hallway which was soon tarnished by fecal stench. An entire wing of the second floor of the building had to be quarantined off and disinfected as a result. On the request of lawyers in the court, doctors assessed Philidor to see if he was feigning mental illness, but he was adjudged to be fit for trial before Friday's display. MDCR staff and Correctional Health Services staff will continue to monitor this inmate and will provide extra security precautions to avoid the events from reoccurring. Philidor has also been accused of breaking into a North Miami Beach home while the homeowner was still inside. He was captured shortly after she called the police. Well, I guess it's a good thing she called before he decided to shit in his hands and fling that across her home. Consider a career criminal. Philidor could face up to 15 years behind bars if convicted in the Grand Theft Auto case. Well, he better think quick now and see if he can find a way to get up out of it. But this is a wild story. It's almost like one of the ones that you can't believe is actually real, but it is definitely indeed a real one. Y'all, I can't wait to see what y'all got to say about this one. Like, y'all are probably just like shaking your head, like wondering what's going on with this guy. But you know what? I'm gonna be on code right quick. The guy has a mental illness. Now, this is the class. Now, this right here is a cause for saying that this person has a mental illness. He didn't really hurt. He didn't hurt anybody. I mean, the symptoms are all there. Why not just give him some kind of psychiatric treatment? Give him some probation, maybe slap an ankle monitor on his leg and call it a day. I mean, I think that would be best. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next one.